little bit of myself. First of all, thank you so much for all of you guys for joining this event over here. Obviously, post-pandemic, it's amazing to see this. I still remember, like, backstory is Andres and I, we used to work together in a small office in Seattle. And the whole thing about Latin America started because one day we woke up and we said, you know what? We should sell in Spanish. This is, and I'm obviously saying in English, but we should sell in Spanish. And we were in Seattle. And so Andres, I'm like, okay, look, you can speak Spanish, dude. Here's the phone. From now on, you're gonna do this. So, and then Andres kind of pitched me, like, look, let me go down to Mexico, let me build a team, let's kind of like really kind of invest into Latin America. And obviously we agreed. And so, you know, now we have almost 40 employees here in LATAM, and I'm super, super happy that we made that choice, and we'll continue making that investment into Latin America, obviously. But a little bit about myself, really quickly. I'm originally from India, obviously, but I lived in Russia for 2 years. Don't ask me what I was doing there, vodka and women, maybe. So, and then I landed up in Provo, Utah. If you guys don't know what Provo, Utah is, it's kind of like opposite of Moscow, right? No drinks. There's only one bar. It's a college town with only one bar. So anyway, I got out of there. Don't worry about it. So I got out of there, landed up in Seattle, lived in about 10 years in Seattle. I now live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been running QuestionPro for a while now, and obviously I'm having a lot of fun. A little bit about the company itself. So we have about 250 employees globally. We have a big team in India. And we've kind of made a big effort to go global, if you will. So we have teams in London, Berlin, for Germany, Dubai, and we are opening up offices in Japan and Australia also, and obviously a big investment in Latin America outside the US. So that's been going really well, obviously, so it's a great platform. I'll talk a little bit about the platform also. We obviously started off really quickly as a survey platform. And then evolved into kind of three different we really sell into three different, we see the market as three different distinct buyers, effectively. So one is, it's kind of the older version. Okay, so the first part is research and insights, where we have kind of quantitative is where we started with surveys. We do stuff like conjoint, max-diff, heat map, fairly complicated surveys that need deep insights, if you will. Last year we acquired a company called DigSite that's in the qual space, so we want to kind of surround the offering with both quantitative and qualitative solutions. We also have another platform called Insights Hub, which is kind of a insights repository solution. So effectively, if you think about what we are doing is, we are looking at the researcher in an organization and say, like, all the tools that the researchers need, we want to provide that. So that's kind of, at least directionally, that's the vision behind that. The second part of our business is customer experience, which is more transactional surveys, where we're customers are looking to collect data on an ongoing basis and make decisions. And within the CX space, obviously we have tools like inner loop, outer loop, reputation also. We're launching a reputation management platform also along with it. So anything that helps customers, our customers understand their customers on an ongoing basis better. So that's kind of the marching, at least directionally, that's how I see the vision behind that. And the third component of our business is employee experience, which is really targeted towards heads of HR who are trying to understand how employees are feeling. So if you want to look at it, there's the market, there's the CX, which is the customer, and then the third component is employees, inward facing. So looking at how employees are doing, how is their burnout, and what is their churn within employees. And even that, not only that, but 360 leadership surveys, so in terms of like understanding the leadership potential of an organization. And including an action management and action planning tool. So those are we are kind of like combining all of those kind of service offerings, tools into a single bucket, and we call that as part of our EX platform. So that's a real quick pitch about QuestionPro, but today I want to talk about kind of really three new ideas that we came up with in the last 2 months, quite frankly. That I think we are kind of pushing hard on this, and we'll go through a demo of sorts, if I can get my stuff together realistically right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of what I call AI-powered survey creation. We all have created surveys, and we're all thinking about how to create the survey, and sometimes there's writer's block. like what questions do I need to ask, what should I do. So I'm actually going to try to actually do this thing in real time and see if I can show you guys. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, this is the one. So, okay. So I'm going to try to do this in real time and see if this works. Okay, so let's say we're trying to build a survey right now, and I want to say, okay, so I want to understand how this event is going. So let's say event, all I want to do is event feedback, okay? So this is going to take a little bit of a while. What the system's going to do is to go figure out, okay, understand what we're trying to do, and almost help you create the survey effectively. So you don't have to come up with the questions. The system will kind of like, because we've trained it with, frankly, this is, behind the scenes, we are running ChatGPT behind this to train and figure out what questions to ask that makes sense for the event survey construct, for the event feedback construct. And what it does is, first of all, figure out like what is it that you're trying to do, and what are all the questions other people have asked, and kind of combine the two together and give you some recommendations in terms of what questions to ask if you were to create an event survey. It should come back in about 2 or 3 seconds right now, but it'll come back. So this, let me see if I can just bounce to another survey. So this is the survey, it's just still working. So this is the survey that automatically comes back. As you can see, obviously it's in English. This one, let's see, yeah, there it is. So this is a survey that you can, effectively kind of like say, like, I don't have to create the questions from scratch and say like, okay, these are the surveys that have been created, and you can just say, I want to add all these questions, add it to my survey, and boom, these questions are added to the survey, and you go through this process effectively. So this is a very quick way, almost like the way I think about it is that when you want to create a survey, you can ask effectively an AI engine, like, what are the different questions I can ask regarding a particular construct, look at it, and then add it to your survey, or change it, or do whatever you want with it. But you're not starting from scratch. That's the key part, is not to start from scratch, because it's kind of, you get writer's block and everything else, and it becomes kind of slightly, at least for me, it becomes difficult. So that's a pretty, we think it's a pretty good kind of like innovation in terms of like designing surveys, right? So in terms of like, how do you start from scratch? It's a design. It's almost, I think of it as your friend in terms of designing a survey, effectively. That's the way, AI-powered friend, realistically. That's kind of like item number one. The second one that I want to show you guys today is, let's talk a little bit about the respondent experience. So we really believe that the respondent experience, that the person who's taking the survey has to be amazing. It has to kind of appeal to them. Because that's what determines response rates. That's what, especially for customer satisfaction kind of studies, that is a huge predicator of response rates, realistically. How people feel as they take a survey, or how you interact with them. Along those lines, we've kind of added this kind of what we call focus mode, really, or kind of visual mode. So this is an example of a survey that, obviously I'll take it in Spanish. As you can see, it's very visual. You go through the survey in a visual kind of process, as opposed to a kind of survey-looking process with amazing backgrounds. And you can say like, okay, how was the experience? It was amazing. Yes, no, maybe. And then as you can see, the backgrounds change as you take the survey, because it's important to kind of like emotionally connect with the respondents. So if somebody's saying that they're not happy with you, and then you put a bright photo of people smiling, people think that you're not listening to me, right? So it's not connecting with everybody else. So we believe, and we've actually tested this out. Not only we believe, we actually know. We're researchers, we're data guys. So we've tested it out with a bunch of our customers as well as respondents, and we consistently see 20 to 30% higher response rates, because people feel that the system is actually connecting with them, really. So as you go through the survey, you're like, okay, I'm connected with this, and so on. So we really believe that this kind of a visual mode for taking the survey. A survey is still a data collection model. It should still be engaging. It should still be it should still appeal to the respondents. So that's the second thing I want to talk about. And the last, which is probably the most exciting thing that, at least for me, that I want to talk about is, let's talk about analysis, right? We kind of created the survey, we kind of deployed it. Let's talk about analysis. So in the analysis side also, we've kind of said our dashboarding tool will do what we call automated insights, and I'll kind of quickly show you guys a demo of it, really. So this is actually a real survey. This is the grid survey that we did for, not LATAM, but the US survey that we did. So this is, let me just go through the survey really quickly. It's somewhere here. Yeah, so this is the grid survey that we did. This is a real survey that actually went out through Greenbook. It went out to, I don't know, 500, 800, 1,000 people who've completed the survey. And here's the dashboard really, right? So if you think about it, you can say like, okay, I want to add, I can add a widget to the dashboard, and this is based on the survey, and let's take any one of these. In general, how do you prioritize the use of research method and approaches? So, oops, I need to add this widget correctly. Give me a second. Oops, how to prioritize research methods, and then add this widget. So this is the widget. This is real data that, as you can see, okay, you can create a widget. That's fine. You can look at the data, but what we also do is insights over here, as you can see. Let me see. I can, this insights. My resolution is pretty bad over here. Let me see if I can move this around. The resolution on this is pretty bad. So the data behind, as you can see over there, that insights was generated by the AI system based on this data that's out here. Okay. So what you can do is like, again, we look at this also as a co-pilot model, which is like, okay, these insights, the system looks at the data and then comes back with some insights. You can then read that and say like, oh, actually this makes sense and I want to add more to it. And you can actually this is what the insights say. You can save that as a highlight, and this one will show up as a highlight on the dashboard. Oops. Sorry about that. That would show up as a highlight in the dashboard, really, right? So this is the highlight, effectively. Yeah. So in general, this is the information that the system has collected. Obviously, you can modify it, and the content can be modified, but you can look at it and say like, okay, what is the key priority? Is the quality of the insights generated? There's actually real data, actually. Right? So what is the key priority for more research? Well, obviously, the quality of the insights that is generated, really, right? So again, we believe that like creating the insights from data, researchers need kind of like almost like a co-pilot / kind of some sort of an automated input model. Again, same logic, quite frankly, the same logic that applied in the creation of the survey, the same logic applies for the analysis of the survey. Again, we don't want researchers to start from ground zero, because there's a lot of information that like this, kind of through the AI, it's pretty easy to kind of make the analysis. Like, okay, if three items constitute 90% of a particular, okay, those 3 items are more important than the other 15 items. So really you need to zone in on those 3 items, realistically, right? So that's kind of like what we are working on with. This is going to get released pretty soon. That's kind of our third option, realistically. And I think that's about it in terms of new stuff that, obviously we're working on a ton of other things, but this is what I'd love to kind of wanted to showcase to you guys today. Thank you very much. I won't take too much of your time. That's it. Thank you very much.